Okay.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1, the first week of a new podcast that I'm doing. It's going to be called Behind the Mic with me, and it is, I say with me as if everyone was supposed to know who it is. If you don't know who I am, I'm Craig Russell Horn. I am an electronic musician and a producer from Glasgow, Scotland. So, before we start talking about the podcast in general, what it's all about, I am going to do what most podcasts would do at the beginning and do ads, but the difference is that these ads are are for me, because I'm gonna plug some music to you. So, With the Absence of Light is my new album, came out on the 20th of November last year, was included in the top 100 albums of last year. If you haven't heard it, please go and listen to it. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on absolutely everything that you can imagine it being on, it's there. And out with that, my Instagram account is at Craig Russell Horn, where I post daily, mostly, and talk shit all the time. Oh, I was no, just before I started this, because it was going to go on YouTube, and obviously you always need to plan ahead and hope that things get successful. So I said that I wasn't going to swear because you get demonetized and all that. But anyway, who cares? We've done it now. Yeah, so my Instagram is at Craig Russell Horn, and my Twitter is CRH_music. And yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do. Hopefully, across the coming weeks, as I do these ads, I will get better and better at them. But that's what you're getting for just now. So yes, this podcast, Behind the Mic, is going to be about me, who's a producer and a musician, talking about all the stuff that happens behind the mic, the stuff that you don't get to hear. So, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. So, if you've ever listened to a podcast, it's quite a quirky thing for people to do new podcasts, and what they'll say is, we don't really have a plan, we're just going to let everything go with the flow. I'm not doing that. We have a plan. We're going to talk about stuff that's going on with my own music. We're going to talk about just music in general, films, TV shows, sport, gigs that I've been to see, shows that I've been to see, food, beer, everything, pretty much everything that I can think about for the week. So I don't know when these are going to come out. I'm recording this on Monday. I'm hoping to keep recording them on Mondays, but I have no idea when they'll come out. So just kind of need to wait and see for that. Yeah, so that's essentially all the podcast is going to be about. It's just going to be about things that go on in the background of my life, which is related to music and related to stuff otherwise, because I think it's really important now that artists give themselves a little kind of a different edge, you know, especially when you look at artists like Lewis Capaldi and things like that, with what he's done with his social media presence and all that, because of his personality. You know, we're all kind of trying to do something a bit like that. So this is one of the ways that I feel that I can get my personality across and talk about stuff. So yeah, first thing to talk about, my own music updates. There is not really anything happening at the minute. And you'll know when there is a lot of stuff happening, because this will probably fall behind. The recording of the podcast and all my social media stuff will fall behind as well, because that's just naturally what seems to happen. But I've been doing a lot of producing recently, and I will be jumping straight back into that more than likely come the start of next week, but nothing really at the minute. And I'm just working on my own music. At this point, like I said in the opening ads, I've released 2 records. I've got an EP which is called Robots and Machines, which again is on Spotify, and With the Absence of Light, which was the album that just came out, and now what I'm trying to do is I'm looking to next year. We're now in 2019. I'm looking to 2020 and what I want to be doing at that point. So I'm in the current process of putting together music so that I can send it off to, management companies, record labels, whatever, PR companies, to see if anyone is willing to take me on. And it's tough. It's a tough kind of planning stage, especially when someone like me who is totally creative. I don't really think with a business head on. I know I'm talking about doing this, and the reason why I'm doing this is from a sort of business perspective, but overall, I'm a creative first and foremost, and that's the thing that drives me forward. So that's squeaking, by the way, is this couch. So it's quite difficult to stop thinking fully creatively and thinking more about the business side of stuff. It's very difficult, I think, for artists to be able to do, especially ones that are totally creative from like the word go. There's artists who can certainly sit there and think about the music that they're writing and almost pull creativity out of something that could be popular, or what could be commercial, and they can drag creativity out of that. Whereas for me, and I think that probably quite a lot of artists, you can't. It's really, really difficult to do. You just kind of need to allow things to move naturally and almost like on a spectrum, and let each hurdle come at a time. But I can't do that. I need. Sorry, I can do that. I can do the opposite way, in which you are like thinking about in a business sort of mindset. But that's what I'm doing at the minute, and you'll see on Instagram I'm doing all these demos. I think they're really, really interesting. I don't really want to talk about them too much at the minute because by, like I said, this sort of chronic jumping of creativity, I kind of seem to move about quite a lot. I don't stick to one thing, and I don't go, right, okay, well, I'm going to make an album that sounds like this, I'm going to make a record that sounds like this. It always moves all over the place. So, but at the minute, I really, really like the sound of the stuff that we're getting out, and I'm excited about it, and hopefully when it does go to people who are, management companies and stuff like that, they'll be excited about it too. But yeah, that's the music updates. Nothing really happening. Those music updates, when I do them every week, when I have gigs coming up, when I'm going to be at somewhere, where I'm going to be attending something, then I'll drop it in that little segment, and that'll always be at the start of the podcast. So, I would say first 10 minutes of the podcast. We're about 9 minutes just now, so you can skip the first 10 minutes if you have no interest in listening to me about music. So, here's another interesting thing to talk about, the second sort of topic. So, the music that I have been listening to this week. Now, the reason why that is going to be important every single week is because I'm going to start writing a blog, and I will be talking about one record that I've been listening to for the week, and I'll do a full review of it, and I'll just tell you my overall opinion of it. I recommend it if I want to, or tell you that it's terrible. I'm quite willing to do each of them. So I haven't actually listened to that much new music come from Friday, which is usually what I do. I usually listen to a ton of music on the Friday, which is why if I was recording this on the Monday, it would be quite easy for me to talk about, because I've listened to it and I've washed myself in it, but I haven't this week. So the one record that was, oh jeez, what was that? Oh, the one record that was really, really, but I'll tell you what that is. Actually, see this. This is a trick for people that do podcasts, and if you listen to podcasts, You'll hear that people do that all the time. This kind of burping sort of thing. It comes from coffee. I'm telling you, coffee just clogs up your throat, man. What was I talking about though? That was it. So, Jeantek, who is a producer, electronic producer, I would say. I don't really know the guy. We follow each other on Instagram and that, but I don't really know the guy. He's an electronic producer from Edinburgh, he says with inverted commas, because I don't know. And he's just released a record of just really interesting lo-fi, sort of eclectic hip-hop sort of sounds, but they're also, some of them are quite, I don't know, kind of synthwavey and all that. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting record. I'm gonna review that one for the first one of the blog, because I really want to dive into it and kind of pull it apart. But out with that, we are also inside knowledge. I've contacted Jeantek to take one of his tracks, which is on the record, which honestly is amazing. It's just a really, really good, really good beat and nice textures on keyboards. I loved it. So I've asked them if I could get the stems for that and perhaps do something with it, because I mean, I think that would be cool. It sounds really, really good. So, but I'm talking about that just now. Almost, what's the word? Is it retrospectively? I think it might be. But you know, I'm talking about that before I've even listened to it fully and properly and put a kind of review head on it. And I don't really have a final point to it, which hopefully the next time that I do these podcasts, I will have listened over the weekend and written some initial notes. And then when the podcast comes out, you know, the blog should be coming out not far after it, which I'll do a more in-depth sort of assessment, if you want to put it that way. So for this week, though, it's going to be very vague. The other record that I listened to was Flume's new record, which is, I think, Hi, my name's Flume. Is that what it is? I think it is. Anyway, again, see, this is what I'm saying. I've not went through and properly reviewed it. All right, so just give me a chance here, right? But I mean, Flume is like the math rock god of electronic music. The beats, the textures, the time signatures, everything. It's all over the place. It's crazy. It's just this beautiful madness that you get every time with a Flume record, and with a mixtape, it excites me even more, because with a mixtape, you're kind of saying, like, this is going to be crazy. This is good. We're gonna let the chains come off a little bit here, because a mixtape, it's not a full album, it's not an EP, it's not a single, it's just a mixtape. It's just, I'm just burning some music. So I'm really, really interested to actually get through all of that and properly review it, because that's what I said. He's so on a different spectrum than everyone else. I think everyone else is on a completely different wavelength to what Flume's on. And Flume, the way that he puts the beats together, the way that he uses bass, the way that he uses, like I said, time signatures, it is very math rocky, but it's electronic music. Yeah, it's just really, really interesting. So I'm looking forward to actually listening to that properly, and hopefully, I'm recording today on Monday. Hopefully, I'll have the blog of that done for Friday. He says, with no binding promises. Okay, so with that, I'm now going to move on to films that I've seen this week. Right, okay. If you've listened to my music, you'll know that I'm a huge cinema fan. I use an awful lot of movie samples. I love it. I love films. I try to watch, I mean, probably from January, I tried to watch a film like every single day. It became too heavy, but that was my sort of commitment to it. I really, really love watching films, and I think, especially for spurring creativity as well. Honestly, man, it's great. But I'm quite ashamed to say as someone who loves cinema, someone who loves films, I only just watched Get Out. I know, I can hear the collective sigh, the collective like, oh, what you all about? But I'm sorry, but I watched it. What else is there to say? It is amazing. It is probably the... Is he going to say it? It's probably the best horror film I've ever seen. I've said it. That's it. It's done. Said it. Can I take it back? Can I take it back? Aye. It's really good. It's really good. It's a really interesting concept. It seems really stupid talking about Get Out, but I mean, however many years since it came out, but do you know what, I'm going to talk about it because I really enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen it, then you need to go and watch it. It's on Netflix. You don't have an excuse. Everyone has Netflix nowadays, but pretty much, probably. If you that's me talking with total, what's the word for that? Western. There's a word for it. Which means that you only think about Western qualities stuff. Anyway, who cares? This isn't a politics theory podcast. This is actually about other stuff. It's the... Oh, man, there's so much to it. There's so many layers to it. Obviously, the whole racism thing is very, very interesting. But here's the thing. I don't know if I'm getting this completely wrong. I don't actually feel like it is trying to play a white versus black racism sort of idea. I think what it is trying to do is show a sort of dystopian idea of modern slavery with the advancement of technology and things like that. And it made me think about really interesting things like, or just really, it really scoped my brain out a little bit to think about other things. So the whole idea of it is obviously, spoiler alert here, but the whole idea of it is obviously, it's the advancement of technology that when old white people are beginning to die, old rich white people are beginning to die, that they are given the opportunity to auction for a black male or female to have their brain transferred into theirs so that they could, you know, live another life almost. And it made me think about advancement in technology, and it made me these are the two things I took from it. It made me think about advancement of technology, and it made me think about the subduing of black culture. So on the first part, it made me think about what is probably the biggest advancement in humanoid technology, which is artificial intelligence, AI, and how good we've got it now. And you think it's in cars, it's in laptops to a certain degree, it's in your phone. You know, artificial intelligence is pretty much getting everywhere, but the technology for it is getting so advanced. I'm not on the kind of conspiracy train of, sorry, taking a drink, of the AI could cripple the world. I think it's something that we obviously need to look at quite intently, but I don't think it's going to cripple the world. I think overall it will probably, he says fingers crossed, maybe I have too good an idea of how the human race would use it. I mean, it's not as if we've got a good track record of of using new technologies and all that, but you think, for example, like with nuclear bombs, we've only dropped them a couple of times very, very early, and they've not been used since. So there's a kind of hope with that I think that would maybe go the way with AI. I think that we would really mess up AI from the get-go. Yeah, I think that we would mess up AI from the get-go, and then something would happen and it means that we wouldn't do it again. But anyway, I'm going off massive tangent. The whole point of why it made me think about AI was, I thought artificial intelligence, and this also kind of works into the removing of black culture sort of idea. if we were to end up with, artificial intelligence in our lives every single day, and I'm talking about physical, like the kind of robot sort of idea, it would clean up and it would do all that sort of stuff for us, right? How many people are at the forefront right now, and I don't know this is from total ignorance, but I'm just going to assume, how many black people are working on artificial intelligence and the development of it? And I mean from the top. I'm not talking about people who are workers in it. I'm talking about people who actually make the decisions. And I don't think that there'll be that many. It just seems to me that is, if anything, it's going to be white dominated, by people who are successful and who've got an awful lot of money. Or I say successful, let's be honest, probably just got quite a lot of money. I feel like that they will be the people who get to say so when it comes to artificial intelligence. So if we got to a position of how artificial intelligence would work, and we tried to integrate it as close to the human society as possible, so it would just kind of sew its way into the fabric very, very easy. What I mean by that is that it would be something that we would respond to. You think of like Siri, the way that Siri talks to you, it's a person's voice. It's not like HAL 9000, from 2001: A Space Odyssey. That very clinical, strange, sort of monotone sort of idea, that robots sort of talk like this, and it's all very sinister. There's no intonation in the voice, there's no real life to it. I feel like that with artificial intelligence, we would need to put some sort of life to it. But would that include black culture? Would that include black slang? Would that include all of the incredible things that have been woven into our language, woven into the identity of people who are black? And I don't think so. And it's that almost wave, and that's what I got from Get Out, taking the mind out of the black person to put in the white brain to continue life on. It's sort of the same way AI. Do you see what I'm getting at? Do you really think that the white rich businessmen at the top who are pushing artificial intelligence now and who are developing artificial intelligence, would they make something that fit to the black culture, or would it do what always happens and they would model it off themselves, and what you would have would be an AI system, which would be probably the most incredible technology in the world, but it would be completely whitewashed. There would be no trace of any other culture in the world. Think of all the cultures in the world, there'd be no trace of it apart from white. And I think that's quite concerning. But that's what I said. I get that. The film's probably not trying to give that to me. It was just that thought that spurred up. Just in a total side note. Just a total side note. Just a really interesting, just while we're talking about AI, really interesting story, which not a lot of people have heard, and I love telling it. So I'm going to tell you. Let's put a date to it. Let's just say, for example, 1980. In the 80s. I don't know if that's for sure, but it's around about the 70s, 80s. There was at MIT a robot created to play chess. And essentially it would be an artificial intelligence machine. And what they would do is they would play chess against this robot, and it would learn. It tried to learn patterns of a chessboard. And the whole idea was that ultimately it would be able to beat most chess players. They were trying to see if the software would be able to, learn that you could play a very experienced chess player, and the chess bot would win every single time. So, what happened with it was that they set up this robot, set up the software, and like I said, I don't know the actual full example of the experiment, but they would play 5 novice players. People who'd been... the chess bot would play, firstly, 5 novice players. Players that have maybe only learned and been playing chess for a couple of weeks. It would play that, learn, and then eventually it would be able to beat them. After done its full learning process. Then they would get in the next 5, which would be people who've been playing chess for a couple of years. You know, they're okay. You know, they play it every so often. But they're not professional or anything. And the 5 of them would play the chess bot, and they would play it and play it and play it and play it until it was able to beat them. Then following that, they would play the MIT, a chess team. And obviously the whole point of this was that each group, they were trying to see just how high they could get the software to be able to learn the board. And it plays them over and over and over and over again. And then ultimately, the chess bot wins every single time, 100% of the time. Now, they got so far up in this, they were like, right, we need to try and see how far we can push this software. They then pull in a group of 5 professional chess players, and same again, play, and the bot is able to beat them 100% of the time. And they go, oh my god, we look at what we've done here. This is incredible. We've made a software that can beat professional chess players. You know, that's how good our software is. And then obviously they all have a conversation and go, do we stop there, or do we just try and beat this software? Do we just try and just see, just do it, just keep doing this until it fails? And they decided to do it. So they get 3 grandmasters to come in, and I mean grandmaster is like black belt jiu-jitsu level of chess, right? And they play the bot, all 3, over and over and over again, and finally the chess bot is starting to fall away. It's getting beat consistently. Beat. It can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. This is too much. We're now at grandmaster level. Can beat the professionals, can't beat the grandmasters. Play it and play it and play it again. And something clicks. Something clicks. And now the bot is starting to win every single time. It is beating grandmasters. And then they sit down and talk to the grandmasters and go, how can this beat you? How can this beat you? And one of the grandmasters says, I am playing a game of chess 30 ahead, 30 moves ahead. That's how I win a game of chess. So the only way that bot is doing that is if it's doing it too, firstly, and secondly, it's reacting to what I'm doing. And they realised that the only way that that's possible is if it's thinking. It actually now ended up with a cognitive ability to beat grandmasters of chess. So they went, fuck this, and pulled out the plug. As you could imagine. And they went, no, get off. That thing's thinking, get it off. Done. And they put it in a store cupboard, and they never used it again. Because they created a software that could think, and they thought it was too dangerous to have it on. But then ChessBot got a new lease of life, because now, or up until the last time that I looked, could have changed now, but ChessBot is now used to direct traffic at air traffic controls in America, because it can think all those stages ahead. Isn't that a fascinating story? I love that story, and I'm glad, and I hope that if you've not heard that before, that you loved it too. Chessbot, go look it up. Okay, so moving on from Get Out and Chessbot, TV shows. Another thing. Oh, I'm just gonna sit back a little bit here. Oh, getting uncomfortable. Another thing that, obviously, with being a film fan, a big fan of TV programs as well. So again, I'll watch quite a lot of TV after a day of working on music or whatever, just to kind of settle me down. And I don't know why. This is the thing. This is something that I'm definitely going to change the podcast with my podcasting. It's so difficult to not just sound extremely unnatural when you talk about it. I mean, I'm just sat there explaining to you that I like watching the television. See, it's things like that that hopefully over the coming weeks I'm going to be able to anchor out, because it's just stupid. So I've started watching Baptiste. If you don't know what Baptiste is essentially about, there was 2 amazing programs called The Missing, which I loved. First one was with James Nesbitt. Funnily enough, I can't remember the second one. I think it was just because I can remember the story, but I can't remember who was in it, and I don't know why. I think it was because the James Nesbitt one just took me off guard so much, because it was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. It's just that it's written by 2 British guys, and it's directed by a Scandinavian director. And I've always said this, as everyone who has heard me talk about TV, especially crime drama, because I love crime drama, there's only 2 people who can do it in the world. I get how America, so it's going to hurt you if you're American. I get how America loves a crime drama, and yes, they have had some very, very successful crime dramas, but nobody can make a crime drama like the British and the Scandinavians. I'm sorry. It's just fact. It's just fact. It's not even opinion. It's just fact that I can show you any. I could get any American crime drama, and I'll show you a Scandinavian one that's better than it. I'll show you a British one better than it. Every time. But Baptiste is the main detective who is from The Missing. He searches. He's for missing children. He's a detective for missing children, and it's very much based off of the Madeline McCann thing, which I'll talk about later on, because obviously, as everyone has watched The Disappearance of Madeline McCann, I have also. Baptiste, the guy who plays Baptiste, which I'm not even going to attempt his name. It's a TCHISKY sort of, Jukowski sort of name, but he is an outstanding actor, absolutely outstanding. I'm really glad that he got his own show, because he deserved it. He really did deserve it. His performances over the last 2 seasons of The Missing have been absolutely outstanding. So yeah, totally deserved. But yeah, so I've started watching that, and it's great. It's really good. Tom Hollander's in it as well, who is the really creepy guy in Bird Box. He's been in the thick of it. He's just a fantastic actor. He's a very versatile actor, but a lot of people are using him now to be very creepy, and I'm quite intrigued by that. I think it has actually unlocked something in his acting ability that he really falls into. But I hope he doesn't become that typecast actor, because the creepy guy is always Tom Hollander, because he's so much better than that. But yes, I'm watching that. Only just started that, so I've not really got much to talk about with that. The other one that I've just started watching, literally from last night, and it is amazing. I think it's David Fincher who has put it together, and some other person, but I'm pretty sure that David Fincher's involved with it. Love, Death and Robots. Holy God, it is so good. The animation to it, especially in the first episode, is amazing. It's got so much to it. The first one was so dark and gory, and jeez, it was heavy. And then you get to the second one, which is hilarious. It's so funny. The one with the 3 robots looking at a like nuclear apocalypse, like town, like human town, like they've gone to go and visit it, almost like a tourist attraction. It's so good. Oh man, I loved it. So I'm getting into that, watching more and more of that. But like I said, not really got much to talk about with it because I've not fully went through it. But man, it's just outstanding. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoying it. Sorry, not enjoyed it. Yeah. So if you've, again, Netflix, if you've got it, just watch a couple. They're only like 15 minutes each. They're very short. Very short. So you can watch 2. Batter through it. I think there's 18 in total, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to batter through them, man, because they look amazing. And yes, let's get on to the heavy one. Right, it's one that everyone's talking about. Disappearance of Madeline McCann. I understand why Netflix done it, because, and why they've put it together, because they knew that the American public would love it. For the British public, I think it was it was always going to flag up some things. We, over here in Britain, 2007, that was when she went missing, wasn't it? 2007. I was 11 years old. Is that right? Was it? Yeah, 11. Yeah, I think so. I think it was 2007, wasn't it? Anyway, I was between 9 and 11, whatever. You know, round about that age, right? And we lived through it, man. It was, I mean, when you watch that documentary and they talk about it being in the newspapers every day, on the TV every day, on the radio, it was everywhere. Madeline McCann's disappearance was everywhere. You could not get away from it if you lived in Britain. So, going into the documentary, I knew quite a lot about it. Like I said, I'm interested in crime drama and all that, and I'm even more interested in real crime, so I knew pretty much everything that's in the documentary. I knew that they were going to talk about the dogs. I knew that they were going to talk about the non-corroborating evidence from all the group who were at the tapas bar. But what I will say is that the way that they'd done it and the way that they laid out the documentary actually changed my mind. To a degree. To a degree, it actually changed my mind. Which is very powerful thing for a documentary to be able to do. And I feel even that is even more powerful because, like I said, British public, we went through it, man. We lived through every single moment of this disappearance and this investigation. So, for it to do that is very powerful, and it's a great job by the directors and the producers and everyone that's put it together. So, everyone's giving their opinion on it. I'm going to give my opinion on it. So, like I said, when I had an opinion of it when it first happened, I thought that the mum and dad killed her. Okay? Because, and I ran off, actually, the exact same before it actually happened, I ran off the line that the Portuguese police took. That they're both doctors, they know how to administer medicine, they know how to do that, and that they've given the kid something. I didn't think Calpol, but I thought that they maybe would have given the kid something to put them to sleep. And they would trust in their own abilities. I mean, he's a cardiologist. Jerry McCann was a cardiologist. He was the club doctor at Celtic Football Club, which is, you know, the team that I support, for a small period of time, and you only get that position if you are a very, very talented doctor. So I you know, if I was them, I would never ever do. That's the thing. I would never ever do what they done and leave their kids at that young age behind. But if I was a doctor and I thought about administering medicine to someone, maybe not my child, but to administer medicine to someone outside of an office and outside of a doctor's office or an ER or something like that, I would feel pretty confident if I was Jerry McCann, because he's, like I said, he's clearly a top doctor. But I thought that they'd done that and it'd gone wrong. Overdose, or, you know, if they'd injected a bubble in the syringe, or, you know, Anything. Could have been anything, man. Could have been anything. But I thought that it was them that done it. I thought that the dog evidence is so... I know that it didn't lead to anything, but the dog evidence is so... I know there's a lot. I know there's an awful lot of evidence to counteract the dog's evidence, but it's very, very stand out for me. Very stand out and very, very important in the whole case. But how did it change my mind? I held that belief for years and years and years. Well, they take you through the documentary and they show you that they ran with that line and they couldn't find evidence to support the dog's claim. And then they look at perhaps she's been abducted, but they couldn't find anything that really points to that. And then they thought it could have been this, and nothing pointed to that. And the whole point of it is that they checked all of these lines of inquiry and they all ran cold. Nothing ticked a box. Do you see what I mean by that? Nothing. The whole idea of this documentary is like, yes, look at all this evidence that could have pointed you in that they killed her, or that they've hid her body, or that somebody's abducted them, or somebody's came in and killed them. Look at all of these different approaches to the investigation, which all have evidence to point you in their direction. But as soon as you get to that conclusion paragraph of how do we have the evidence to support this, all of them run cold. And what they showed with that documentary was, instead of doing what other documentaries would have done, is, I'm going to push you down my idea of how I think this happened, me the director or me the writer. I'm going to push you down what I think happens. I'm going to shove that down your throat. What Netflix, I think, done very, very effectively was say, this is the disappearance of Madeline McCann, and to this day, after 12 years since she went missing, it is still a mystery of how it happened. I think that is a very, very powerful thing for a documentary to leave you on. This is still a mystery. Yes, there is a lot of evidence that points you in different directions, but all of them ran cold. So, what do you take from that? How do you prove it? Very, very interesting. If you haven't seen it, and like I said, and if you do have held beliefs about it, which I did, and it might put you off from watching it, because, you know, you're like, listen, I don't want to listen to... People will be sat there and be like, I'm not listening to this nonsense where they go, oh no, it was an abduction, or that. And it's like, I don't believe that. Just don't believe that it was an abduction. Go and watch it. Go and watch it and see how you come out the other side of it. Because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And especially if you like TV and you like the actual putting together of programmes. It's so well put together. Obviously, it's a fantastic story, and I don't mean in that, you know, it's a nice story, the disappearance of a young girl, but I mean it's a fantastic story to make a film out of, because it's so interesting and because it is so mysterious. So that's the easy part, to make this a good story, because it already is one. But to craft it the way that Netflix done it, I thought was very, very impressive. So yeah, I recommend you go and watch it. But listen, everyone's watching it, so you're probably already down that direction. So if you could take anything from it, then it's me that's telling you. And if you trust me, go and watch it. Okay, so moving on. Man, this is what I'm gonna talk about this every single week. Okay, I'm a massive sports fan, football fan. I'm a Celtic supporter. I am, I love all sport, but my two main sports are football and UFC. So I'm gonna talk. But I say UFC. That sounds like that I'm a total mixed martial arts, because I hate when people say UFC, because that's just one promotion. Okay, it's one promotion and a big, massive sport. Okay, so big fan of football, big fan of MMA. And that's what I'm mostly going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about Celtic mostly from the footballing perspective, and I'm going to talk about the UFC mostly from the MMA perspective. But I'm going to talk about football first, and unfortunately, I have to talk about the Scotland national team. Anyone who's listened to the podcast, and you'll see below, I'm going to put in the description the times in which you can skip through everything. Probably 70% of people just skip this because they don't want to talk about the Scotland national team. And listen, neither do I, but I have to. It is the qualification process right now going on for the European Championships, the Euros as they are called, which happen every 4 years. They run bi-yearly following World Cups. So it's 2020 is going to be the next competition. And I was born in 1996, okay? And Scotland have been to, since I've been alive, one major championship, i.e. a European championship or a World Cup. Obviously, at the age of 2, I wasn't very interested in what was going on at that point. But that's the last time that Scotland were at a major championship. And if you look at the quality that we have in Scottish football throughout the years, you can go back to Kenny Dalglish, you can go back to... my God. I genuinely have just had a total loss of like every great Scottish footballer there. Let me run back over that. We've had amazing players like Kenny Dalglish, Dennis Law, one of the greatest Man United strikers of all time, Jimmy Johnstone, who's arguably the greatest Scottish footballer of all time, came third in the Ballon d'Or in 1967, which if you don't know what the Ballon d'Or is, that's for the best footballer in the world, and he came third in that, which is the only time that a Scottish player has ever done that. So we have a great history of football, and to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't really care about the national team. I love Scotland. I'm so proud of being Scottish. I love this country. I'd do anything for it. I love this country of Scotland. But man, I can't support that national team. Let down too many times. Let down far too many times. And I understand why people can't. Why people haven't supported the Scottish national team since the 70s and the 80s. Because of this exact reason. Because they why would you even care? Why would you even care? Can't even get to major tournaments, can't even put in a good showing most of the time. So we're going through these European qualifiers. We played Kazakhstan on Friday. Was it Friday? Thursday? Wednesday, maybe. Anyway, we played Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan last beat teams such as Moldova, Andorra, and apart from that, pretty much every single team they've came up against, they have been dominated by. Scotland goes over to Kazakhstan to play at the Astana Stadium. I know that actually the name of Astana has changed recently, which is the capital city of Kazakhstan. I can't remember what it's been changed to though. I think it's New something, anything. Anyway, it's not called Astana anymore. But through ignorance of not knowing the old name, I will call it Astana. They're playing at the Astana Stadium, and Celtic have played there a couple of times against the Astana. It's a very, very difficult surface. It's plastic park, which means it's 3G. It's not actual real grass. Many teams have struggled to play on it. Many teams have struggled to play on it. But Scotland go over there, and fast forward 90 minutes, we lose 3-0. Worst defeat that we have ever had in our history. It's the first time that we've ever lost to a team that is outside the top 100 teams in the world rankings. It is the first time that we have been beaten 3-0 by a team lower than us in the world rankings. And following that, we then yesterday played San Marino, who are the worst team in the world. And I say that with zero exaggeration. They are literally the worst team in the world. They are 211th out of 211 national sides that play under FIFA in the world. There is, for example, the British Virgin Isles. You would struggle to find the British Virgin Isles on the map. It is that small. They are ranked higher than San Marino. So you can see the problem that we're in here. We go over there and we play them and we beat them 2-0. Now I know what you're saying. You're thinking 2-0. If you don't know much about football, you'd be like 2-0. That's good. I mean, you won. Won fairly comfortably. Yes. But San Marino's team are not made up of professional footballers. They are made out of plumbers and and teachers, and a good Scottish junior team could beat San Marino. Genuinely, that's what we're talking about. It's so far off professional football. It's not even equatable to what the kind of quality of players that we've got in the Scottish national side, and we beat them 2-0. A team such as Cyprus, who are playing them in the middle of the week, they beat them 5-0. Cyprus is way ranked lower than us in the national rankings. So, it's worrying. It's very, very worrying right now. Like I said, I've totally fallen out of love with the Scottish national team, and I hate that. I hate that I've fallen out with my own national team, and that I don't even follow it anymore. But really, how can you support that? How can you support that? So, listen. It's now 1 o'clock on Monday the 25th of March. If Sir Alex Ferguson, wow, I wish Sir Alex Ferguson was there, but if Alex McLeish is not sacked by 5 o'clock tonight, then I don't know what we're doing. I really don't know what we're doing with the Scottish national side. If we can put in a manager who's been a pundit for the last 12 years or whatever, he's not even managed the team. I'm not going to go into the whole thing of that he walked out in Scotland before. I get how everyone always points to that, right? But listen, he got a bigger job than the Scotland job, right? But there's pretty much every job in the world right now is bigger than the Scotland job. That's why he left us the first time. But you know, it's worrying. It is worrying. I don't know where we go from it. I don't know who would take the job. I keep saying Sir Alex Ferguson. If Alex McLeish was sacked, I don't know who would even take the job. I don't know who would be brave enough to take it. God help them if whoever does. But hopefully by the time this has gone out, Alex McLeish will not be the Scotland manager anymore. Because we need a different direction, clearly. If we can't beat Kazakhstan, which up until probably 10, 20 years ago was regarded as a third world nation, they had more important things to be thinking about in their nation than actually getting a good football team together. And in Scotland, we've got it pretty Gucci up here. Everything's goes pretty alright up here, and we've got a huge following of football and all that. We should be able to be ahead of a team like Kazakhstan. And San Marino, a team who has never ever came off of the bottom ranking in the world, we should be able to batter. Belgium played them not that long ago, who are obviously a much better side than us, but they beat them 10-0. 10. Cyprus, like I said, a team that is much, much worse than Scotland, beat them 5-0, and we can only beat them 2. Greatly worrying. So hopefully, I don't like to be the kind of witch hunting person for football managers' jobs and all that, but listen, we've taken such a step back with the national team. Something needs to be done. something needs to be done, and hopefully that'll be pretty soon. Anyway, moving off from that, UFC. There's nothing else to talk about, is there, apart from Showtime Anthony Pettis' knockout of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Holy God, what a knockout that is. Superman punch off of the fence, flush onto the left side of his cheek. In fact, not even on the cheek, left side of the jaw into Wonderboy Thompson. Maddening. Crazy. Some background on it, man. It's the first fight that Anthony Pettis has had at 170. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has had plenty of fight at 170. He's the third ranked in the world at 170. He, up until that fight, had never ever been knocked out. He'd been beaten a couple of times, but he'd never ever been knocked out in 80 fights. That's including kickboxing. He was one of the best. If some people say even the best kickboxer at that weight. He's absolutely outstanding. So creative, the two of them. Wonderboy Thompson flings his legs like arms. They're so flexible, and he's able to get them up. And capoeira kicks and wheel kicks and hook kicks. He can fling tons of different shots that are just so creative. But he was in the cage with a man who is even more creative than him, Anthony Showtime Pettis. If you haven't seen Anthony Showtime Pettis before that fight, and you've not looked at him since, just when he hits him with a Superman punch, which is one of the most difficult punches to knock somebody out with, because it's you haven't got your both legs planted in the ground, so you actually can't get a full turn of force. The way that you are using the force is by flicking your dominant leg out, which gives the torque to your body, which allows the punch to come across. So difficult to generate that much power that you're able to knock somebody out. But like I said, if you know Anthony Showtime Pettis, nobody's surprised. Nobody's surprised that he could do something like that, because he's so creative. But the other thing that is with him is, and why Showtime Pettis, if he could make the weight and look good at it, he was always going to be a problem for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, because he's got so much grit. You see him at the end of the fight, he's pulling the blood off of his face and wiping it at his mouth. And savagery. His fight versus Tony Ferguson, Jesus, man, broke his hand. He was doing like break dancing kicks and all that. It was insane, absolutely insane. Put him down a couple of times as well, Tony Ferguson as well. I haven't seen Tony Ferguson in that much trouble in a long time. So he's so legit. A lot of people are sleeping on him. I think that he's one of the best fighters in the UFC. He's total savage, and good Celtic man, Duke Rufus, who trains him, has got him in tip-top condition. He looks brilliant, man. He looks really good. So I'm really excited to see who Pettis fights next. I'm excited to see what Wonderboy does as well, because first knockout off of someone who's fighting their debut at 170. Wonderboy is a championship contender. I would like to see him versus Kamaru Usman, but can it really happen now? I don't know. But yeah, so that's all for the sport. Okay, so this next part is going to be talking about the gigs and shows that I've seen for the week. Now, obviously, come podcast to podcast, that might differ, because I don't get that much time to go out and see shows, but I've been very, very lucky this week to not see two music gigs, but see two comedy gigs, courtesy of, which is going on right now, the White Mackay Glasgow Comedy Festival. It looks as if it's been fantastic. There's some big names on it. Limmy has been on it. Al Murray, the pub landlord, he's been on it. Is it Joe Goodley? I can't remember her name. Oh, she's a good comedian though. Robert Florence, Ian Connell. Lots and lots of great comedians have been playing this week. But I have been lucky enough to go and see two shows this week, Starting off with Robert Florence on Wednesday night doing... It's very difficult to explain this to you. If you've watched Burniston, which is Ian Connell and Rob Florence's hit comedy show, Scottish comedy show. It's on Netflix as well if you want to go and watch it. It's fantastic, really, really funny, just interesting comedy. These two guys are legends as well of Scottish comedy. I mean, they wrote for Chewing the Fat, which, if you're Scottish, you know Chewing the Fat. The scenes that they wrote is Stonner. Not a lot of people know this, but yeah, they wrote Stonner, which if you watched Chewing the Fat, you'll know the Stonner, the Stonner sketch, and also the scene where the guy chaps on this random guy's house to ask if he can use the toilet, and he comes and sits and eats an orange through the door at him. I know I'm not giving it justice, but if you'll know the scene. Well, that is written by Rob Florence and Ian Connell. And we went to go and see Rob Florence's show of his Burniston character, Biscuity Boyle. Biscuity Boyle is Burniston's favourite son. He won bronze at the Olympic Games for a hurdler. And since that time of winning bronze, and as he's got into his older years, his life has gone downhill. And he's and that's essentially what the show is about. I think it's the last time he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it one more time, and he's going to announce that Biscuity Boyle has died. There's some inside knowledge. I think that's what's happening. But yeah, hilarious. So funny. Great crowd interaction. You could tell that he was riffing with it as well. Most of it was sort of improv. Just really, really getting into the character. And yeah, it was funny. It was funny. He done a good job of it, and you could kind of tell that he was coming to the end of the ideas with the character, and that's why he's talked about getting rid of him. But yeah, it was great fun, great fun, and you know, can't wait to see them back doing stuff for Burniston. Hopefully that does happen. And then last night I went to go and see Chris Forbes. Man, listen, I didn't know who Chris Forbes was before I went to go and see him. It was my brother that bought tickets to go and see him. And most people will know him as the Highland cop from Scot Squad. Which, listen, that's not even a big part in the Scot Squad show. And it honestly made me feel so angry that this guy is known more for being a lesser known character in a fairly successful Scottish TV show, but not as a comedian, because he done an absolutely outstanding set last night. It was not the funniest thing I've went to go and see. I've not sat there and like howling, laughing, like hurting as I'm coming out face into it. But the way he told this one story, hashtag believe in Malcolm. The show was called Prophecy. He was filming a podcast and in Edinburgh, and he just moved to the south side of Glasgow, and every single day when he travelled to the train station to travel through to Edinburgh, he walked past a man with an egg shaker on Nelson Mandela Square, which, you know, if you're from Glasgow, you know that's not an uncommon thing to see. A man sat there with an egg shaker singing Wonderwall over and over and over again, and Chris Forbes went up and spoke to him and said, "Who are you?" Asked what this guy was doing, why was he singing Wonderwall with an egg shaker, and he told him that he was the son of God. and the whole set was an hour show, all on one story. Which is very, very difficult to do. You do one premise. It's not joke after joke after joke. A full hour, totally on one story. And the way that he crafted it together, and the jokes that he put, I mean, some extremely well crafted jokes. I mean, for example, him talking about that he wanted to, when he was younger, he wanted to rejuvenate the church because he grew up in quite a religious family, and he thought he was going to make the church cool again, and one way he would do that would be creating top trumps of famous biblical characters. Honestly, I mean, that joke, that was one of the standout jokes. It was just absolutely hilarious. But the way that he crafted this show and this story together, and you know, I mean, it really had the audience gripped. There was points where the way that he was delivering lines and things like that, and the way that he goes through the story, and the way that he gets that, and there was people gasping in the audience and all that. It was fantastic. It was at the Stand in Glasgow, which, if you're a fan of comedy, go to the Stand, man. I've never seen a bad show in the Stand. I've never seen a bad show, because it's such a small comedy club, and if you are going to die on that stage, then especially you're going to die hard in the Stand in Glasgow. So you need to be on your A game if you're at the Stand. And listen, outstanding show. I was so taken back by it, and he's a great comedian. I hope that somebody buys up that hour. He says that's the last time he's performing it. I hope somebody buys that hour and they get it up on Netflix or something, because man, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's all I've seen this week. Two shows is all right. Hopefully, gonna go and see some music soon. This is what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna do this every podcast. I write up a list of shows that people should go and see for the week. So if you're looking for a show, then you can go and see it. That I'm gonna go from. I'm thinking that this will be out, and I'm hoping to get this podcast out on. Today's Monday. I'm hoping to get it out on Wednesday. So I'll go from Thursday. So Brown Bear on Thursday at King Tut's. I don't actually think you call it Brown Bear. I think it's Brawn Bear. It's actually pronounced. But for people who don't know the act, Brown Bear. I seen Brown Bear play at Moore not that long ago, and they were fantastic. They're playing a BBC Introducing Night at King Tut's. That's on Thursday, the 28th of March. Saturday at SWG3, the Galvanisers Yard in the south side of Glasgow. The Excerpts will be playing. Tuesday, King No One are playing at St Luke's. That's the that's the 2nd of April. And then Wednesday, which hopefully the next podcast will be out for. Nina Nesbitt is playing SWG3 as well, and that's on the 10th. Oh no, I've messed that up massively. That's way over a week. But anyway, Nina Nesbitt's playing the 10th of April at SWG3. So that is that's Brawn Bear on Thursday at King Tut's. That's the 28th of March. Excerpts on Saturday, the 30th of March, which is at SWG3. And King No One on Tuesday, the 2nd of April at St Luke's. Okay, so out with that, the last thing that I want to talk about, I've given you some gig recommendations, and that's what I want to do. Every podcast, I want you to go out and I want you to go and check out some new music, because I love checking out new music as well. But while you're out, mostly in Glasgow, that's pretty much where all the gigs are that I'm recommending to you. Why not go and try some food and drink? And I'm going to give you some tips on that, because I love my food and drink. So, where did I eat this week? That was really, really impressive. I'll tell you where. Nowhere. I didn't eat anywhere that impressed me this week, but what did impress me was what I didn't eat. I was at Grace's in Glasgow. If you know Grace's, if you're a Celtic fan, you will know Grace's in Glasgow. It's an Irish bar. Great pub. Really, really great pub. Obviously, if you're not that way inclined, if you're a Rangers fan, then it's not for you, right? Grace's. But if you don't really care about football, or you are a Celtic fan, get yourself into Grace's, man. One of the best pubs in Glasgow, and they do an amazing fish and chips for £9, I'm pretty sure it is. So, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that. But that's what I said. I didn't even eat it. So next time I'm in Grace's, I'm going to get it, because it looks outstanding. The smell of it. Oh man, it was me, my brother were in, and two other people, and the other two people were eating food, and Jesus, it smelled good. So there's my recommendation. If you're up for it, go to Grace's and get yourself their homemade fish and chips, because it's outstanding. The beer as well. In Grace's, get a pint of Guinness. It is the closest pint of Guinness you will get to the taste in Dublin. I promise you that. It flies. It flies out, that's why. If you know beer, especially Guinness doesn't travel well. Never ever has, and it's never gonna. It just doesn't travel well at all. So, you don't get a very nice tasting. I mean, you get a nice tasting Guinness, but you don't get it that crisp, clean flavour like you get in Dublin anywhere else apart from Grace's. I'm telling you, going to Grace's, get a pint of Guinness, and it will be the best one that you'll have. Honestly, best one you can get in Scotland. I'm pretty certain of that. Other beer that I tried, West's St Mungo's. I've had that a couple of times, but I had it last night at Chris Forbes at the stand. Such a great pint, man. It's just very citrusy, it's very fruity. It's fairly expensive, but you know, it's worth it, man. If you don't know what West is, West Brewery is using the kind of ingredients that you would brew a Scottish beer, so a Scottish lager like a Tennent's or something like that. Using those ingredients, but brewing it to the German method of beer making, and it just gives a really, really interesting flavour. And that St Mungo's lager is it's just an outstanding taste. It's not like if you got like a Dead Pony Club lager from Brewdog, which I love. It's one of my it probably is my favourite beer. But it's quite hoppy for people who are quite used to kind of run of the mill lager. So it's they find it quite difficult to try things like Brewdog stuff and all that. But the West St Mungo's, if you're used to drinking like Buds or Coors or Miller or whatever you're used to drinking, you can switch over to that West St Mungo's, and it's just a cracking pint. And I'll give you a pint that's I was about to swear again, but a pint that's not very good. The Stand's homebrew, and I'll tell you the reason for it. If you go into King Tut's, you'll get a smashing pint in King Tut's of their homebrew. Why is that? Because it's made by West. There's a connection there, right? Great pints from West. So King Tut's get their home brew made by West. It's going to come out great. The Stand get theirs made by Belhaven. Oh dear. Oh, that's silly. It's just sweet, man. It's sweet, and it's too flat. It's honestly, a beer shouldn't taste like a Halloween candy. Do you know what I mean? It's all sickeningly sweet. Just we had it at the Stand last night. The smell of it, and I'm sorry to give you this description, but the smell of it smells like a pub urinal. A guy's pub urinal. You know, that smell of beer, piss, mixed in with cleaning products. Oh, man. Not good at all. Really, really not good. But listen, if you're out in town, you're at one of those gigs, let me give you them again. If you're out in Glasgow, if you're at Brawn Bear on Thursday the 28th of March, if you're at the Excerpts Saturday the 30th of March, at SWG3, if you're at King No One on Tuesday the 2nd of April at St Luke's, and you're looking for some good food, get yourself into Grace's, get yourself one of the fish and chips, have a Guinness while you're there as well. And then if you're not going to any of those gigs, go and walk into the Stand. Go to the Stand and support the comedy festival, support local comedy as well, and get a pint of that St Mungo's, man. You will not be put off by it. So listen, we've pretty much covered everything, haven't we? We've talked about the updates for me on my music. We've talked about the music I've been listening to, and like I said, that blog will be coming out probably by Friday. I would say by Friday, where I'll be reviewing both, if not one, of those records that I mentioned. We talked about Get Out, first time I've seen it, and I went off on a bit of a tangent about AI, but I hope you enjoyed the Chessbot story. Might do film reviews as well. I'm kind of thinking about it, but it's quite difficult. Obviously, I can find the time to listen to a record, which is maybe like an hour long, and write something up about it. But to you know what I mean, a 2.5 hour film, maybe a bit of a push, but I'll see what happens. We talked about the TV shows that I've watched. If you like your crime dramas, go and watch Baptiste, because like I said, we are mixing the best in the business, Scandinavians and British together. Also, if you're in for something that's a quick watch, but also really, really eclectic and really interesting, Love, Death and Robots on Netflix. And also, if you haven't watched it, but most people have, get involved with the debate in the disappearance of Madeline McCann. We talked about the sport. Scotland national team, forget about it, right? Let's just forget about that for now. UFC, go and watch. If you're interested in your boxing, you're interested in MMA, go and watch that Superman punch knockout from Anthony Showtime Pettis. If you go on my Twitter, which is CRH_music, I've got a video of it on there. Go and watch it. Like I said, you're not going to be able to see these two shows, unfortunately. The two gigs that I went to go and see this season, this week, Chris Forbes, Prophecy and Biscuity Boyle, because they're done, unfortunately. But listen, especially that Chris Forbes one, I want to start a campaign to get that hour special on Netflix, because man, it deserves it. It totally deserves it. And yeah, like I said, get yourself into Grace's, get yourself that fish and chips, get yourself that Guinness, treat yourself to it. And if you're not doing that, go and get yourself a pint of West St Mungo's. And that's all we've got to talk about, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Behind the Mic. We are going to hopefully keep doing this every week. Hopefully you listened, hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you're willing to come back to me next week. Blog will be out on Friday. My new album, not that new now, it came out in November, but my new album, With the Absence of Light, is on Spotify, on Apple Music, on everywhere that you can get it. Ranked in the top 100 albums of last year. Go and listen to it and tell me what you think about it. I hope you enjoy it just as much as everyone else has, and how much I enjoyed making it. You can follow me on Instagram. I will be doing stuff like this pretty much every single day, just talking absolute nonsense. That's what I do. That's at Craig Russell Horn on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Twitter as well, that's CRH_music. And if you follow people on Facebook, don't think many people do that now, it's Craig Russell Horn, and you'll find it there. Thank you so much. Hopefully seeing you soon. This has been the first week of Behind the Mic, and yeah, thank you so much once again. Bye.